Hey everybody, we all know that the housing market out there is still hot, and if you're a buyer, you want to make sure that your offer is the most appealing to that seller. One way to do this is with an appraisal gap. What is an appraisal gap, you ask? Stick around, I'm going to go over just that. Hey everybody, I'm Shane Gordon, a real estate agent with eXp Realty here in the Charlotte, North Carolina market. If you're thinking about moving to Charlotte, or maybe you already live here but you're just looking to move to a new area of town, you're probably pretty aware of the shortage of inventory and how competitive the market is. With this shortage of inventory, we are seeing a number of buyers out there, as you can imagine, and a lot of sellers receiving multiple offers on their homes. To gain an advantage, a lot of buyers are actually bidding over asking price, and some buyers actually way over asking price so they can get that home and be as competitive as possible. An appraisal gap is one way to do that. So you might ask, what is an appraisal gap? So what appraisal gap is the difference between what you actually are purchasing it for and what the property actually gets appraised for. Okay, so for an example, let's just say you find that house that you absolutely love. It's listed for $400,000. You know there's multiple offers, so you actually place an offer of $410,000. Your offer's accepted by the sellers. You're excited, and then what happens next is the lender actually hires a third-party appraiser. That appraiser goes by the house. They do all the numbers that they have to do to go ahead and see what that house appraises for in their opinion, and it actually appraises for $390,000. So that actually leaves a $20,000 appraisal gap, which has to be paid by somebody, and unfortunately it's not what used to be, where we would go back to the table and we would renegotiate the terms of the contract to come to an agreement on a new price. Sellers these days are not coming out of pocket to pay for any of that. Therefore, you as the buyer would have to come with extra cash to the closing table of that $20,000 on top of the 5%, 10%, whatever amount of money you were putting down on the house. Since there is such a big housing shortage right now, it is very common to see buyers bidding over asking price, sometimes way over asking prices, as I mentioned, and willing to pay that appraisal gap just so they can have the house that they want. Unfortunately, currently this is the norm, and we don't see this changing anytime soon. So it is very important that you make the decision ahead of time. Are you willing to pay an appraisal gap? Are you willing to go over asking price? These are things that you should probably write down. If you're purchasing the house with somebody, you guys need to talk about it. You need to discuss, do you want to go over, and if so, how much you want to go over? So write down that number because you don't want to be surprised in the end. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. There's plenty of houses out there where you won't have to have an appraisal gap, but you need to know this up front. You need to write that down. You need to talk with whoever you're buying the house with and have that comfort zone. So you're lowering your stress levels. Buying a house can be stressful enough, so make sure you have that plan set ahead of time. If you decide that you don't mind paying just a little bit over that appraisal price, that's obviously fine too. But what we would need to do is we would actually have to write that into the contract. So whatever price you determine you're willing to pay over that appraisal price, we can write that in. So for example, let's go back to the original example. The house was listed at $400,000, you offered $410,000, but the appraisal actually comes back at $390,000. So what we would have done before that, we would have written into the contract that if the appraisal comes back less than what you offered at the $410,000, then you're willing to, let's just say, pay $5,000 over the appraisal price. So instead of paying the $20,000 difference, you are now paying just $5,000 over that $390,000. So the $390,000 would actually come to $395,000. So you would just pay that difference, the $5,000 difference between the $390,000 and the $395,000. So that's something that you could put in there, a little bit of protection for yourself, something to keep in the back of your mind. Therefore, it's very important for you to meet with a real estate agent such as myself. That way you can have understanding of what's going on in that neighborhood. What is this house actually going to be justified for selling for? You want to have the best possible information going into it you can. What we can do for you as an agent is we can tour that neighborhood, look at the area, see what the differences are of the houses from the outside. We can pull other recent sales from the neighborhood in the past few months so you can have an up-to-date value of what homes might be going for in that area. This will give you the advantage that other buyers out there don't have if they're not using an agent. I know this can be a little confusing, and I know everybody's in different situations than other people, so if any questions come up, feel free to comment below. You can also give me a call or text me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And as always, if you found this video helpful and valuable to you, please subscribe below. I'd appreciate it. Hit that like button as well. If you are thinking about moving to Charlotte, check out this video here. Have a great day. Take care.